Hello to you and welcome to Time to Sparkle with Rowena Breakin. October is Breast Cancer Month and we have a very special guest, our very own Mama Unicorn and cancer survivor, Alexis Sturgeon. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you are here. It's just an honor and a privilege for you to join me on this platform.
It's such an honor that you asked me. Honestly, when you messaged me, I ran to run and I said to him, I've made it. Rowena wants me on the show.
Well, thank you for that. And I am just so pleased that I could have the space to share love and just give people an opportunity to sparkle, because we all have something to offer. We all go through challenges and we are all overcomers. So today it is your time to share your joy.
Thank you, Rowena.
So Alexis, congratulations on your latest race win.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasant surprise. I didn't think that I had done as well as what I did. Although, I mean, we're making it sound like I've won the Comrades Marathon, Olympics gold medal. It's not bad. It was a 10-kilometer mile race. But for me, obviously, I'm just taking part in something that's extremely close to my heart. It's called Breast Friends, locally run here within the UAE, and proceeds for that race go towards helping this amazing charity out. And they do raise awareness and education. But the two biggest things for me is that it's emotional and financial support for women that are going through breast cancer. And especially the financial side, because for me, I was truly blessed. It was never even a worry for me. So I think when I hear about women who are going through this massive change in their lives, and then they're having to worry about the financial aspect too, it's just so overwhelming. So to have a charity that's doing something like that for women is great. So to cross the finish line and to see that I came first, it's just such a celebration of having good health again. And obviously, because of COVID, there couldn't be the prize ceremony or the hanging around like usual, but I did come home, celebrated with my family, and had a good cry because I was so happy.
Incredible. When I look at the picture of your victory, it was literally the picture of victory over cancer in every sense of the word, emotionally, financially,
Definitely.
just healing in Jesus' name, really.
Absolutely. Amen.
I just want to say congratulations. I'm really, really happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, when I feel like during the race, if I get tired and I want to give up, I know it sounds super cheesy to some people, but I just run and I'm like, no, you did breast cancer. You can do this. This race is nothing in comparison. So you just keep on going. And it's kind of my motivation.
Awesome. I think we should tell our viewers that we actually live in the same neighborhood. Alexis lives in Abu Dhabi, in Al Reef. And so
Yes.
we actually met through our church. We go to Cornerstone Abu Dhabi, which is led by Matt and Rana Jones. And I just want to know, how did you find out about a church in the Middle East?
Well, when we knew that we were heading over in this direction, one of Ryan's biggest priorities was to get connected with a church. And so he just, did the usual Google search and up popped Cornerstone. So we arrived June 2014. And yeah, within the first month of us arriving, we went to our first service at Cornerstone. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history. It's just been the most wonderful, joyful 6.5 years of our lives. We've been so enriched by the community. God has really blessed us with Matt and Rana that have led the church, and such incredible friends that we've made through the church, through Mom's Group. For me, we met at Mom's Group, and the ladies that have been to Mom's Group have become some of my dearest friends. So it's been wonderful. They've seen us through some highs and lows and really supported us. So we're so grateful for Cornerstone Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I just think the leadership is just so incredible. They really
Definitely
have created a safe space for us to really make community a priority.
Yes. Absolutely.
We are all away from our family and we really depend on the support system of the church. And so, I mean, what impact did their physical support really have on your journey?
When we found out, the first people that we told family first, and then after that, the first phone call that we made was for myself was to Melinda. Morris and Melinda, leadership couple in the church, have been such great, mentors for us. We went to their open lounge for quite some years, and we really grew with them, and we absolutely adore their family. So they were a great support for us. We went to their house and they prayed for us. And so it just really gave us that peace. And even though we never forgot, even from the beginning, the drive home, that we know God's with us, just to have that reassurance, get together with the people that we knew were going to be our greatest supports. Just going to church every Friday, even though some days it just felt really difficult. It was a motivation to try and get there. You were feeling a little bit beat up. You would arrive and God would arrive, because somebody would have a prayer for you, somebody would have a word of encouragement for you. And it was really just, food for our soul. Like I've said, it's what helped us get through. And just all the friends, the beautiful friends that I've got through the church, who would contact me and say, how are you feeling after your chemo? If I was feeling nauseous, they would drop, ginger ale on my top step. If I've just had surgery, they would put flowers on my top step. It's just, it's that. It was, we made the right decision when we decided to stay in Abu Dhabi for my treatment, and the church just delivered for us.
How beautiful. It's so amazing to see love in action and compassion.
Definitely.
I can definitely agree that Marius and Melinda are so helpful. I remember when my husband broke his leg, I mean, they were the first ones there as well. And I just love generally how the leadership comes and is really there. They show up. I'm always just amazed at how humble they are. Matt never wants to even be called pastor. He's like, call me Matt. And I think it's just so easy to relate to our leadership. And I just think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
I
tell
totally
me,
agree.
how did you decide to come to Abu Dhabi?
It's Ryan, really, my husband. It's with his work. We got married April 2011. 2 months later, we were, waved goodbye to South Africa, and we headed to Hong Kong. So we were there for 3 years, and then 6.5 years here. I must say, at some point, I didn't think we'd last that long, but we had our daughter here, Lucy May, who's now 4 years old, and so, pretty, shall I say, average life here, expat average life, pilot's wife, and then everything was according to plan until,
When I first saw you, you were wearing a headscarf, a head covering. And
Yes.
I was so encouraged by your positivity. You were just beaming with joy and love. And I have to let you know that that was so encouraging for me, because my children were very young. And to see you being so strong in such a challenging time, I was very, very encouraged. And I think for most people, that's often the very first time you get to know that somebody is facing cancer treatments. But there's obviously a lot that happens before we actually see somebody in the scarf. So, would you tell us a bit about where you were by that stage, and what had happened leading up to that point?
So if you'd seen me in a headscarf, I was probably a good 2 months after being diagnosed, 3 months. And I loved my collection of headscarves, I must say. I got all the colors to try and fit in, match my outfits. But so up until that point, in the beginning of April 2018, I feeling perfectly fine. There was no symptoms whatsoever. I just happened to feel a lump under my right breast. And Lucy May was 18 months at the time. I was still breastfeeding her occasionally. So I just thought maybe it's something to do with that. So I didn't really think anything of it. And then a couple of days later, 2-3 days later, I was thinking it's still there. And I kind of had these warning bells going off in my head, because a really good friend of mine, Lynn, was diagnosed 4 months before I was. So I just thought, it's not something to play with. Let's just, get it checked out. So I saw my doctor, who referred me to a radiologist. and did an ultrasound, and he was pretty, honest. He said, there's a 50-50 chance that we're dealing with something here. So it's better if you're happy to do a biopsy, we can just eliminate, anything. So I was like, let's just go ahead. I was not even stressed. I thought, I'm 33 years old. There's no chance I've got breast cancer. And then 2 days later, in the interim, my mom had arrived from South Africa to celebrate her 60th birthday. I'd put Lucy down for a nap. I'd come out, and Ryan was coming up the stairs, getting ready to go out. And I'm asking him, where are you heading off to? So he's like, no, your doctor just phoned me. He's got your test results. And I could just kind of see this look on his face, complete, just like a panic. So I was like, don't worry, it's fine. Still completely convinced. I'm telling him he only phoned you because he got the numbers mixed up on the form. And so needless to say, we half an hour late were sitting in the doctor's room, and he, delivers this news that I have breast cancer. And I know people use the word surreal, but it truly is. Like, you kind of like blanked out of any emotion. It's almost like all the big emotions of fear and shock and anger are just magnified, and they're all fighting for pole position. But you just can't even process any of it. But even just leaving, Ryan was so quick to remind me, God's got this. We're going to be okay. It's not going to be an easy journey, but we're going to look back on this and we're going to be better for it. And so that was always good to have that reminder from straight on. And then the rest from there was it was tests. I had to meet my doctor, Dr. Hartham, who was referred to me from my friend Lynn. And we prayed about, when we first met him, that this would be the doctor that we should be with. And we just felt this complete peace when meeting him. We knew this was the doctor who was going to carry us through our journey. And he was amazing. And then I had to be... It's not just breast cancer. A lot of people think, breast cancer, chemotherapy, surgery, whatever. You're completely naive to it, of course. I mean, if you've never walked through the journey, you have no idea really the process of it. And so on the 30th of April, which was our 7-year wedding anniversary, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, which is a very rare, very aggressive form of breast cancer. And my spread rate was very high. So now we'd gone from having conversations about, we can have some time, we can map out whether you want kids, to kind of go through a procedure that I can have children later on, to no, we cannot do anything of like that. We have to start chemotherapy straight away. So 8 rounds of chemotherapy, followed by surgery to remove whatever was left. And it turned out there was still infection in the lymph nodes. I had to have 29 lymph nodes removed, and then 30 sessions of radiation. So in a nutshell, that was my journey.
That is incredible. And your strength is just perfect in him. Perfect.
Yes, definitely.
What stands out for me is how close your husband was along your journey. And I think it's so important to marry the right person who is going to be with you in sickness and in health. I mean, we don't prepare for sickness. We can't prepare for the challenges of life. But when you choose somebody with compassion, you're gonna have a partner that's really there for you. So I'm so glad that you had that you weren't alone.
Yeah, I always said, like, I have a God-fearing husband, and he speaks life over me. He prayed for me. He supported me. Like, he's always been incredibly supportive, but he really just stepped up like even more, because obviously as a mom, even though Lucy was only 18 months old, and you speak to her about it now and she doesn't remember anything, she is my primary concern. It's just, how is this going to affect her? What can we do to make this just as easy for her as possible? But of course, to find that balance of thinking about her first, but then also prioritizing getting better for her. So it meant that I had to like really step back, because I would be away for chemo, and some days I would be able to get out of bed and go and do things with her. Like I had some chemo sessions where the next day I was at soft play with her and I was feeling fantastic. And then other chemo sessions, just couldn't even get myself off the couch. It was, the brain was saying, get up, get up, get up, but the body was just not, it was like pulling yourself through peanut butter.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. I'm in awe. I'm in awe of how far God has brought you and just how you're thriving today. It's incredible. Now your hair's grown back, and you say that you enjoyed your season of scarf wearing. I noticed that you never really took to wigs. Is there a specific reason why you chose not to go that route?
Well, for me personally, I just always knew that I was just going to go the scarf routes, each to their own. Some women decide to go with the wigs, and they looked amazing. They picked some really awesome styles, and it really looked so stylish. But for me, I'm not that girl, so I just went with the scarves, and I felt super comfortable. Although I did get to a point quite far to the end where my hair started growing back again, and it was so uncomfortable. I felt so hot, and I still remember asking Lucy, what do you think if mommy just takes off her scarf? And she's like, mommy, take it off. And that's when I was going around with my little sparks, and I know some people were a bit shocked, but I thought if Lucy's fine with it and Ryan's okay with it, then nothing else matters.
Oh, I love that attitude. I love that perspective. And I think it's so true, each to their own. And people, I guess, wear scarves and wigs for different reasons. And perhaps if you need to go to work and you don't really want to engage in a conversation, a wig might be what works for you. But since you were home and you really didn't have to face that, it was more comfortable. And I must say, you
Yes.
look very, very beautiful. You look very charming with your scarves.
Thank you. I saw the bright side of going through chemotherapy, and I've always wanted short haircut to try it out and see what it looked like. So I figured, well, let's see the bright side of the situation. I'm going to lose my hair and I get to try all the haircuts, and I never have to wonder anymore.
Exactly. That's interesting. Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you contacted the church when you needed to speak to someone and you were looking for support. But how did you break the news to your family?
Uh, yeah, this is a tough topic because, sorry. Sorry.
That's okay. Yes.
I
No.
mean, my mom was here for her 60th birthday. I mean, it should have been a celebration for her and just been all about her, But she knew when she had arrived. I told her, I'd been for a biopsy, but I was just so cool about it. I was, well, it's fine, it's not a big deal. And I still remember driving home thinking about the fact that my mom was at home. And it was so hard for me because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to lie to her about it, because I just had this thing in my head, like, I really don't want to put this burden on the people that I love. And I said to Ryan, do you think maybe we can just somehow not tell anybody? And I knew that there was no way that was going to even happen. And so, of course, my mom was there. It was written all over my face. And then it's telling my dad over the phone. It was really difficult. My dad and my sister work in the same company, so I had to make sure that they were together when I told them. And I just still remember my sister crying, and I made Ryan tell his family because it's also his journey, and I felt like he needed to just speak to his mom and tell his mom and have that comfort from his family and that side. So he spoke to them. But it is tough. And I know a few women who I have met who have never ever told their families that that they've been diagnosed, or that they were even going through the journey that they were going through. And it's just because of being expat lifestyle, not being near each other. You don't want to worry them. You don't want to put that burden on them. I get that, each to their own, whatever you need to do to get through. And maybe some people, they just don't want that added worry of worrying the people that they love. But for me, I rely very much on my mom. Amazing woman, so supportive for me.
I think it's absolutely beautiful that you have family that you can truly depend on, family that you actually want to go to in time of need.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't have that. And I think sometimes we think that it's because they don't want to burden them, but they probably know
Yes.
that they won't get the support that they really need. And so
Yeah.
bless your family for being the ones who you could depend on, for being the shoulder
Yes.
to lean on, for being the praying hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
So blessed, honestly. I think it's important, as you've said, a lot of people don't have the same support system. There's no rule to what your support system looks like. You create that community. Everybody's community looks different. Some women might not yet be married, but they have that best friend who's like a sister. And it's just important for you to create that community around you who's going to support you. There's no rules to how that looks. Just because you might not have the husband yet, or maybe your parents are no longer in the picture. I think there was a lady that you interviewed recently, and she said that you fill those voids with other people, or people that fit into those positions. So just create that community, and you will have that support in your life.
That's so encouraging. And I really hope that everybody finds that community. Khalid, who now has reached 5 million views, the Emirati gentleman who does all the videos about humanity, he recently visited a woman who has a t-shirt campaign where she spreads a message of hope. And I'm sure you've seen that recent video.
I have seen it.
And I mean, this is a woman who's creating community. She is creating hope in a very hopeless situation. So my heart really goes out to those who are stuck, maybe because of
Yes.
COVID, in this situation, who don't have the finances to fund their treatment. And I think that is why charities like Races and other charities, Think Pink organizations, need support. And we really need to provide that support for them.
Definitely.
Alexis, for Mama Unicorns, I mean, this is what really amazes us. We are amazed by strong women. And you definitely have strength that is just supernatural. I wonder if you could tell us what were some of the challenges of being a mom in recovery?
The age that Lucy was at, 18 months, going on to, well, it was a challenging age to be with, to have a child going through what I was going through, because obviously she's just busy and I want to be busy with her, and I was busy with her. And up until that point, I'd never been without her. I think maybe she'd gone 2 hours in a day once upon a time, but otherwise she was with me always. So then when it got to being diagnosed and having those long stretches of time not being with her, that was very difficult for me. But I just always tried my hardest to find the energy to just do all the things with her, go to the park, go to mom's group. She was my medicine. This is what you're fighting for. Because the devil would sneak up in the middle of the night and tell me all these lies about you're not going to see your daughter get married, and I would be like, never, it's not going to happen. And so to just be with her, she's my sunshine, and going to mom's group and seeing her with her friends and being able to be with my friends, it really got me through the season, just to have that little person to focus my mind on and fight for her.
I love what you say. You chose not to believe the lies because those negative thoughts must fill your head in such an intense way. And I think it's so beautiful that you could cast them out. And I think for everyone, it's so important to find that positive element. And your daughter, Lucy
Yes.
May, is a ray of sunshine. It's like the Lord gave her a double portion of joy, a double portion of overflowing love. She is life. She is life.
She is, and it's like you say it, like she's joy, she's my joy, of course she's my child. And I don't know if you know, I got chicken pox in between having my chemotherapy, and it was pretty hectic because I did not have the immune system to fight it, and so I had to be put in hospital. And with the medication that they had to give me to recover, it was very strong. So I had to be put into quarantine for a week.
Wow.
Without, and I wasn't allowed to see Lucy. My mom flew over, Ryan's mom flew over. They were incredible. They looked after Lucy, and I still remember sitting on the couch, like one of my lowest low points. And my mom was sitting with me, and she's just rubbing my arm, and she said to me, you can just let it out. Tell me how you're feeling and everything. And I just remember crying uncontrollably. And I just said to her, they've taken my Lucy. Like, the fact that I cannot see her, I'm like, she is my sunshine.
Wow.
And now I can't even have that. So it was a very difficult period for me, but by God's grace, she was happy. She had her grannies. She didn't ask about me once, so she was happily preoccupied.
Wow, Alexis, this experience definitely has changed a lot for you. I wonder if you can share, how has this experience changed you for the better? It's very easy to focus on the really challenging parts, and we don't want to take anything away from what you've experienced. But hope is so important. So I wonder if you could share what have been the positive takeaways from your experience.
Well, yes, we had some dark days, but the good days and the good moments and the goodness that was in that season is abundantly more. We just have a different perspective on life and what's important, and we have good health, which we're incredibly grateful for, especially now through this COVID season 2020. There's been a lot of emotions, not good emotions. You start to feel a bit anxious about jobs and finances and the next step if you're not here anymore and such things. And our phrase has always been, if God can get us through cancer, we can get through anything. We're going to be fine. And I think especially for Ryan too, he's obviously very much a family man, but he's also very career orientated, focused and everything. And it just kind of made him assess what was important in life, and that it really is all about family and loved ones. We make a point of seeing all the goodness.
And goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your
Yes, so your life.
Alexis, I know it's impossible to speak on behalf of other people. If you had one message, or if you had any message for people who are facing their cancer diagnosis, for survivors, for thrivers, what would you like to say?
Well, if I could give a word of advice, for me, this means differently, but it's just, you're not alone, and you are so much stronger than you think you are. It's okay to go through the emotions of being diagnosed. It's healthy to feel all the negativity, but what's more important is that you pick yourself up and you get going. Yes, you might be looking at this huge mountain, and it's so overwhelming, especially when you have those first days of meeting the doctors and it's just all this information, and it's checking your heart to make sure that you're strong enough for chemotherapy, and then it's talking about your hair falling out and having a PET scan to make sure you haven't got any more cancer in your body, which is things you just didn't even think about. So it's all very overwhelming. And then you deliver news of what your journey is going to entail if you're going to go through chemotherapy and surgery. So when you're staring at the mountain, just break it down, take it one step at a time, try not to overwhelm yourself even more. And yeah, just baby steps, and surround yourself with a good community of people. Because when you put yourself in the pits, which you often do, it's good to have people that are going to reach in and pull you out.
That's such good advice. Absolutely encouraging. Alexis, I have to be honest. Even sitting with you and speaking, I am like, what do I say to be respectful and honoring? And I know a lot of people are in my shoes where you're talking to somebody or you have to engage with somebody who has been through such a traumatic experience. And we just don't know what to say. We don't know what you need in that moment. So, what was your experience like? What did you appreciate of the people who approached you in your time of need?
People process what you're going through very differently. Even for myself, as somebody going through breast cancer, I would have people that would very comfortably come up to me and want to talk about it and ask a lot of questions, which was fine. I had a lot of friends that didn't want to talk about it, and that's also okay, because I know they showed their love through different ways. Like I say, by bringing stuff to me and just checking in on me, maybe with a message or sending scripture or a prayer to me, things like that. So that's just from my personal side. I never had an issue with talking about it. But then in the same breath, there's a lot of women that I've met that they just want to get through it. They haven't even admitted it to their families. So I think it's always really important to kind of gauge the person that you're dealing with. I think it will be clear, even though you might be aware that they have cancer, it will be clear from how they come across. They'll let you know if they want to talk about it, if they want that support. Some people don't want any pity at all. Some people want to celebrate it, that it's a victory. I know friends that have this ongoing treatment for many, many years. And I know another woman who's of my age, has a child of my age. She has to manage it for the rest of her life. And it started with breast cancer. Women are going through so many different things. Like, breast cancer is so deep.
What I'm gathering from what you're saying is that it's just such a personal journey. And I think you have to just use wisdom in the moment and just take yourself out of the equation and just remember,
Yes.
if you're dealing with somebody in need, you're dealing with somebody going through a difficult time. The only thing we can probably do is just be compassionate and listen.
Yes, that's it. And this is why I'm saying that it's important to have that community of people around you, because they are the people that you are going to be comfortable to talk to. You will speak to them and they know you, so they will be able to even probably read you better than you're reading yourself sometimes, and be able to provide for you before you even know that you need something. So it's just compassion, because I even meet women, I see them from across the room in a restaurant, and I see them with their scarves on, and I see them with no eyebrows and everything, and I say a prayer for them from a distance, and I just pray that they have the support that I was blessed with.
I have no words to thank you for speaking out. This is going to heal so many people on this journey. This is going to open a conversation for so many people who maybe don't know how to approach it. Hopefully, this is going to allow somebody to find the bravery they need to open up to their community. And so I just want to thank you and I just want to bless you. Like, I have been holding back the tears since this beginning of the episode, not in a place of defeat, but a place of victory. Because when I look at how far God has brought you, I am overwhelmed with joy. So, with that said, on this platform, time to sparkle or throw it in. We celebrate women. And I usually have one sparkle, but today I have two. This one is for you, and this one is for all the women who are facing this incredible journey. And I just want to bless all of you.
Oh, so beautiful.
For you,
You're making me cry. I made it most of the way.
For you and for every woman, every mother, every support system that is working together in this fight against breast cancer. You sparkle. Thank you,
friend.
Thank you for all you do to raise awareness. Thank you for your strength that brings us so much hope. We love you. We honor you. You're amazing. May God continue to keep you in the palm of his hand. Bless you.
Thank you, Rowena. You are so beautiful. And thank you for creating this platform. Really, it's such a blessing to so many.
All glory to God. Alexis, let us go and dry our eyes. Take care. I love you so very much.
Oh, thank you. I love you, friend.